Hi guys, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. It's Steven. I'm in Las Vegas. I have the next 4 days off, actually 5 days off. The fifth day, which is February 26th, I took as a paid day off because I have acquired enough personal time to take a day off. And that is also one of our hiring events here in Las Vegas. So there is a small chance I will be at that hiring event. If you see me and you know me through YouTube and you're at that hiring event, please don't put any pressure on me because I will probably have no bearing whatsoever on whether or not you get your conditional job offer. But I do hope to see a few of you there. Say hi if you recognize me. All right, so why I'm making this video. Somebody posted a photo yesterday on Facebook, who's a friend of mine and a coworker, who was, he graduated from our training last month. And then yesterday he posted a picture on YouTube that he had just accepted his conditional job offer at American. Wow, that was fast. But I understand that a lot of people use smaller airlines as stepping stones to larger airlines. I totally get it. I did that in cosmetics. I was, my first job in cosmetics was working on a push cart in Faneuil Hall Marketplace in Boston. We sold makeup, 4 or 5 pieces for $20. Then I lied. I lied and got a better job at a beauty supply store. I was there for a year and a half, year and 9 months. And then I got a job at Lord & Taylor selling Estee Lauder. And then I got a job at Neiman Marcus selling Versace cosmetics. And then eventually I had enough ability and reputation to do some freelance work, which was really exciting. So I understand using different companies as stepping stones. I totally understand that. But I happen to be in the perfect place for me. I'm with my airline, which is an ultra low cost carrier. You probably know who I work for. I'm never leaving. This is where I'm going to stay until they don't want me, until I'm too old to fly. I'm staying where I am. And I wanted to film a little video with some of the reasons why I love my job so much. Kind of in response to this friend's going to American, but also as a response to some friends who told me really early on when I got this job, oh, that's nice, you're going to work for them. That's great. One day you can move on to a real airline. Well, they know now that I've been here for a year that this is a real airline and this is where I'm staying. But those comments really inspired this video. I love working for this style of airline, which is an ultra low cost carrier. It's a budget airline. And there's a reason for us. There's a reason for us to be here. There's also a reason we're growing so fast. So let me share these reasons with you rather than keep on rambling. I made some notes. All right, so number one, hands down, no doubt, our guests. Now, there's a few reasons, and a lot of it comes down to price point, I think. But a lot of our guests can't afford to take a $500 or $700 trip across the country. They might be able to afford a $200 round trip ticket. You know what I mean? And those people understand the value they're getting and are excited about going. Very few times do I ever see people on my aircraft like this. Oh, God, I hate flying. Air travel used to be so luxurious years ago, blah, blah, blah. Most of our passengers are really excited about the fact that they're going to be flying 500 and some odd miles an hour, 7 miles up in the air for no money. They're, for the most part, very excited and grateful. And to a degree, also coming down to price point, is I think some of our passengers, some of our guests are in an economic, socioeconomic level that is pretty low and that they can't always afford to fly or if they've never flown before because they couldn't afford it. And I'll tell you from my own experience of being a person who's been in low income for a long time, I'm not always treated with as much respect or as much of a value by companies as others. You know, I worked at a short story. I worked at Neiman Marcus, Saks, David Yurman jewelry for a while, in fine jewelry. And you know, when a customer would come in and ask for a little simple pair of silver hoops that might cost $10 on a cart in the mall, they come in asking for them, and we'd say, "Oh no," with this nose up in the air. "Oh no, no, no! I'm sorry, we don't sell things like that because there's no profit in selling a $10 pair of silver hoops. I'm on commission. I'm not going to bother selling you a $10 pair of hoops." You know what I mean? So that guest would leave, or that customer would leave, and we would giggle at each other. Where did she think she was coming to Neiman Marcus or coming into Saks or David Yurman looking for a pair of $10 hoops? Who does she think she is? Blah, blah, blah. And we'd lift our nose and we'd go groveling to the person with the black Amex to buy up some jewelry from us. I know for a fact that on our aircraft there are people who in other airlines may not feel as respected or valued. And this is my belief. A joke, some of our passengers will say like, "Hey, you know, where's first class? How to get bumped up in the first class?" And these might be people who would never be able to get into first class. I couldn't afford first class on a legacy airline. But they say, "Hey, you know, where's first class?" And I'd say, "You're in it. You want first class? You're in first class. How can I make your trip more enjoyable? What can I do for you?" And there's always a laugh. They always laugh. But they're all in first class. Everyone on my aircraft is in first class. Now, if you work for an airline that has an economy, business, first class, that kind of thing, you may feel the same way, and that's fantastic. A lot of the way I've been treated on aircraft myself, whether or not they knew I was a flight attendant or not, I've always been economy, you know, so I don't know. But our guests are amazing. I think for the most part, they're very grateful that they have the luxury of being able to fly across the country with very, very low prices. And they're funny. We have the best. I was going to tell you, we have the most real. I think that's what it boils down to. We have the most real, honest. There's no pretense. The most genuine people fly us, and I just love them. I get emotional. All right, let's see where did I write down. Oh, while I'm reserve, I've flown trips just like regular line holders. We don't get like trash trips. We don't get garbage things that no one else wanted. For the most part, our trips are generally just as good as any line holders. Of course, you just don't know you're going until the day before that morning. Let's see. What did I say? my notes are so bad. Folks leave. Oh, yes. I don't know if it is attrition. I don't know if it's just the fact that we lose employees like this kid who's going to American. I don't know if it's attrition combined with our growth, because we're growing exponentially. But I have a line. On my first anniversary of my hire date, on the anniversary of my first day of training, I will be a line holder. No reserve, no A days, no ready reserve, nothing. I will be a line holder on my airline exactly 1 year after my first day of training. That is, ask anybody at a legacy airline, ask anybody at JetBlue, ask anybody at Southwest, Alaska, ask anybody. Say, "Hey, do you think you could carry a line in your first year?" No, not going to happen. If it happens, something really weird is happening, like the timing, like they're opened a new base and you're the first class at that base and you got a line. But otherwise, it's a miracle. Our workload is ridiculously easy. So, primary responsibility, safety, customer care. safety. But for us, I'll tell you, we do our safety checks, we board the plane, we do our compliance back and forth, making sure bags are appropriate, seatbelts, you know, that stuff. We do our snack and beverage service a couple times. It's snack and beverage service. It's not meals. I don't have to heat food up. They pay for everything. Passengers pay for everything. So service might last 20 minutes on it, even our biggest aircraft. We go up and down the cart with carts. That's it. We do our runs back and forth, the aisle walk to take anything they want to get rid of, any trash. Really, that's it. Honestly, that's about it. We don't do a lot on board. Some people who are easily bored will complain, but those people really, honestly, haven't stopped and chatted with our clients, our passengers, or guests enough. Because I will tell you for a fact, I almost never pick up a magazine or a book on board. I almost never have time to read. Why? It won't be a surprise to you. I talk a lot. So I'm chatting with my coworkers if they want to chat. But I'll tell you, I can start, when I'm doing a trash run, I can start from the back or the front of the plane and make my way through. And it'll take me a half hour. Because I'm like, hey, how are you? Anybody who kind of makes eye contact with me, I'll stop and say, hey, how are you? Anything I can do for you? Or something. And eventually conversations start. Real conversations start as I move through the aircraft. So I've made acquaintances, if not friends, along the way, the whole aircraft. And the silver lining, the great payoff for that is that, God help, anything unpleasant happens. If a kid starts kicking the back of the seat in front of somebody, someone's not feeling well, they're throwing up, anything happens on that airplane, pretty much everybody along that aisle or in the seats near them, they have already witnessed me being super nice and chatty and pleasant with someone. So everyone on board knows that I'm a good guy. I'm not going to be a jerk if something happens. And so we don't have a lot of work to do on the aircraft, so that allows us plenty of time to interact with our guests more than any other airline that I can think of, except for other airlines in our similar genre. In the same respect, because our flights are so easy, I'm not wiped out when I get to our layover hotel for the most part, unless it's been a very long day. But you know, if I have a cross-country flight, I get to where I'm going fine. I'm not wiped out because I've worked so hard. If anything, I'm energized by our guests, and I get to where I'm going thinking, maybe I'll take a nap and then go and explore, rather than feel, oh my God, they sucked the life out of me. You know what I mean? All right, that was a lot. We have small bases. We only have 6 bases. Our largest is maybe 1,100 flight attendants. Vegas has maybe 560, something like that. We're growing pretty quick though. I think they want a lot more in Vegas. But I know pretty much everybody by name, by reputation, or by face. So we are truly friends flying with friends. There's no strangers in my base. Since we pretty much all get along, each flight is easy. There's really no big head-butting. It's, for the most part, pretty simple. And it all is because I think we are familiar with each other. Let's see. Non-revving is fairly simple. In the year that I've flown with us, I've never been bumped off a flight, one of our flights. I've never not gotten where I'm going. And I'm mindful of, you know, a flight. When I see that it's oversold by 10, I may not have the highest anticipation of actually getting the aircraft, but I've always gotten on. I think part of it is that we're in Vegas, and I usually try to take an earlier flight. And if that flight is oversold by 5, I'm going to tell you, there's probably 6 people on that flight who woke up with a devastating hangover. It's Las Vegas. I can promise you there are 5 or 6 people who didn't leave the hotel in time, who didn't make it through security. I mean, and because our flights are so affordable, and this is my belief, those people who wake up in the morning thinking, oh, I can't, I'm not going to make that flight, I'll just rebook, I'll just buy another ticket for later in the day. I know that happens for a fact. So I've always gotten on my airplane. I've never been bumped off one of my flights in a year. And for commuters, there's a whole separate video for commuters, but if you're going to commute on us, you're pretty lucky. I think you're probably going to get where you're going when you're commuting with us. We are a very small airline. We have 65 destinations now. The most recent was announced, and we're going to be flying to St. Croix, one of the most beautiful places in the world. I can't wait to go back. I've only been once on a cruise, but we have none of our destinations are small. Even our smallest destinations, like I think it's Plattsburgh. I've never been to Plattsburgh, New York, but that's one of our smallest destinations. Everything else is somewhere big that you want to go. And I think Plattsburgh is there because it's probably close to Montreal. I don't know. But we have no small destinations. And lastly, I wrote here, there's a general chill attitude. We're given enough latitude to care for our guests with our individual character and strengths. Now, there are certain things that we have to do on board verbatim, like exit row demos or exit row briefings. But for the most part, any of our announcements we have to make, we can make with as much or as little humor or personality as we see fit. Some of us are learning their briefings. We don't have to memorize them for the most part, I don't think. So I read most of my announcements because I'm still, as lead, I'm still getting used to the rhythm of flight, when and where to say something. But, there are people who have really funny demos. You'll see videos of that all the time. We are allowed to, as long as we hit every single point that we have to hit, we're given the latitude to have charisma and personality and be individuals. Everyone on that aircraft has a different personality, and we're all allowed to have that very different personality as long as it's polished and it's positive and and helpful. But we're all allowed to have different personalities. Some of my coworkers are very slow and steady wins the race. They're very, easy, simple, clean. Then you have people like me who tend to be much more dramatic, I don't know, maybe. Personable. I really, really enjoy interacting with our guests. Sometimes I exhaust my lead. If I'm chasing up in front and I'm like, hey, how are you? What's going on? Hi, welcome aboard. Love your glasses. Hey, who's ready for a nap? Hey, you're great, because we're boarding. And this is our fourth leg. Sometimes the lead is like, oh, Steven, relax. But each of us are allowed to bring our own personalities. I hear Southwest particularly seems to really embrace humor in their announcements and things like that. In our airline, we allow our individual flight attendants and our crew to be as genuine as they are. And we hire for, all the technical things, but for personality. And some airlines, I know that one of my friends here in Las Vegas has been working for Delta for 20 some odd years. And she's told me a number of times I wouldn't make it in Delta. I would not make it there because of my personality. I'm not a great aggressive or abrasive, but I'm definitely much more than I think that they want. That's just what she tells me. And so I could be wrong. Maybe I should have been destined to work for Delta, but I love this small hometown club-like feel to my airline. So I've been talking for way too long, and I've run out of notes. So I would like to hear what you have to say. Any comments you'd like to make, as long as they're positive and nice. Don't throw any shade. I don't have time for that. So drop a comment below. If you also work for like a regional or a smaller airline, what are some of the things that you love about your job? Why are you going to stay with a smaller airline rather than use it as a stepping stone to a larger airline? You know what I mean? So feel free to drop a comment. I'd love to hear it. I'm sure other people would too. And feel free to like the video if you'd like, no pressure. And subscribe. This is probably one of my videos so far that has been more just freeform thought rather than instruction on how to get the job. So I don't know what you think, but feel free to subscribe. I promise to bring lots more interesting things to my channel. And have a great day. Fly safe. Bye.